Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Life with Loverly podcast. Today's guest is someone I know you're going to adore, Kate Strickler, the creator behind Naptime Kitchen. She's a mom of four, master of intentional living, and author of I Just Wish I Had a Bigger Kitchen and Other Lies I Think Will Make Me Happy. Kate is known for her honest, relatable approach to motherhood, her time-saving kitchen hacks, and the way she brings calm to everyday chaos. Today, we're chatting about motherhood, friendship, social media, the wild ride of building something from scratch, and of course, her favorite easy recipes. Here's my conversation with Kate Strickler. Hi, friends. Welcome back to today's episode of the Life with Loverly podcast. I think my sister-in-law is the person who is so excited to have Kate of Naptime Kitchen on with me today. Hey, Kate.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I text my sister-in-law after, she's actually the one that turned me on to you. And I texted her after this interview got confirmed and I was like, I'm giving you one guess of like who's I'm interviewing, and you were her first guest, and she was freaking out, was like, can I come? This is so amazing. So
Oh my
you've
gosh.
got one really big listener and follower that will be so excited to hear about this today.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I'm flattered.
Yeah, it's going to be really great. Some of these questions and just like things I want to chat about, I'm thinking our listeners and followers will just love to kind of do a little deep dive and get to know you a little bit more. Okay, so in your book, you describe your account in the book as if an episode of Big Brother got together with the cooking channel and made some sort of crazy hybrid show centered around a person with zero credentials, this would be you.
That's how I feel.
Okay, this is very iconic. So take us back to the beginning, the apartment in Durham. Tell us about how you landed this apartment with your husband.
Yes. So we lived in a duplex and we got to live in like a really cool part. We were super close to Duke University, like walking distance. And we got it because a friend's mom had been a developer on the project. They were not like, they were super old, like very old. And we agreed to mow all the lawns for the entire like complex in exchange for a discount on our rent. So we paid $500.
Oh my gosh.
And like every weekend we weeded and we had a rider mower and a push mower and would do like the lawn care for the apartments. But the rent was cheap and we were in a super cool location and it was very character building
Yeah, no
for
kidding.
us. Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
that's so funny. Do you ever look back at like that with your husband and you're like, was that a good idea? Like, what were we doing?
It was such a fun phase of life.
Yeah.
You know, especially it's like you're so excited when you have children, but then you're like,
Right.
golly, remember that season where we didn't have them? And
Yeah.
we just had fun. And it really was like a super fun. And that's where we actually brought our first child home.
Okay.
We got a dog. So that like apartment complex was special.
A lot
for
of
us.
firsts.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of firsts.
I was talking with a friend the other night and she was like, do you remember like before kids, like if you went out the night before and then like the next day you could just like lay in bed until 12 if you wanted and like nobody needed you. She was like, I really miss that. Like I really wish I could have done that this weekend. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, I do get that.
Yes.
It's just so funny. It was in that season that you started Naptime Kitchen. What planted the seed to start sharing online?
So at this time, Instagram was still like, I had an Instagram, but I remember getting Instagram like right when I graduated college, which makes me feel so old. I'm 36 for anyone listening. And
Same.
I remember getting an Instagram like after college. And so at this time, I'm mainly posting pictures. At this point, we have our first child. So I'm like posting, you know, like, oh, he's a month old and like memories.
Yeah.
And then I started to cook a lot more, namely because I was bored at home. Like my child was napping twice a day. I'm stuck in this little duplex. And so I was like making pretty elaborate meals. And so I personally just felt like, okay, I have this account that is pictures of my son and all these memories. And I feel kind of weird posting food photos. So I'm just going to start like a separate account. And I remember talking on the phone with my friend Molly and being like, it was not supposed to be anything. It just was just this like side account where I was going to post food and being like, okay, I think I'll call it Naptime Kitchen because like while the baby sleeps, I cook. That was kind of the whole shtick. But that was like, if people were making money online, I was not aware of it. I really don't think Instagram was not this like big thing that people were like monetizing. Instagram stories didn't exist.
No.
And so it really was just this kind of fun hobby where I would post recipes that I was making.
I mean, I remember you would have to like put all the information in the caption. It was like people would read like a novel in the caption and there would just be like one photo, like there was no carousels. It was like, this is the picture and here is the long caption about like whatever it is. It's funny just to think how crazy, like how much things have changed since then.
Yes. Every so often I'll like make my lunch and walk outside into the, natural light and take a picture and be like, I can't believe this is all I used to have to do. It was so easy. Like one photo of my plate.
That's
it. Yes.
So, what types of things or lessons from your mom were unexpectedly resonating with others?
So, I think pretty early on, I realized that a lot of what my mom had either just taught me or I would like come into the kitchen. And to this day, like my mom will be grating a bunch of ginger because she's going to freeze it in like little portions so that when she makes a recipe later that calls for fresh ginger, she has fresh ginger grated. Like she would do things like that in bulk. She would roast like a ton of garlic and then freeze it in like tablespoon portions to have this like delicious roasted garlic. So just little things where she would always like make double of something and freeze one. And so just a lot of like, I'm going to work smarter, not harder. And I started to realize that when I would say things like that, people would be like, how did you know to do that? Or, what made you think to do that? And to me, I was like, it's just like the way my mom did it.
Yeah.
And she is always in the kitchen to this day. Like if I come home, she's normally doing something in the kitchen. She almost always has the Food Network on the TV. Like it just is.
That's like just part of her.
Who she is. Yes. Yes. So
it's so funny, like little things like that you just are like, this is just like what I do now that you picked up from your parents. There's things like that I do. And I'm like, I am literally my mom, like I can't believe I just said that or did that. And that's just from growing up around somebody doing those things all the time.
Yes. To us, Brittany, it's when you just put together an outfit and we're like, how did she know the shoes? But how did she know what shoes to pick? And you're like, I just know
I did. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of us out here that are just struggling with the shoes. So
I'll get you dressed and you help me feed my family. This is going to work out great. So were you surprised at the growth that you started to have once Naptime Kitchen really started taking off?
Yes and no. No, because it really wasn't fast. Like it was a very slow, like, I've been asked like, okay, I want to start an Instagram account. Like, how do I grow? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I did it for like 2 years before I had 10,000 people following. And the content didn't seem to go, like, I don't know if viral was even like a thing because there weren't reels. So virality didn't seem like it was a thing. It was just this like really slow, like just trudging along. And then eventually it did start to pick up. And there was this moment of like, oh gosh, okay, a lot more people are following me now. And probably some fear of like, okay, I can't just crack a joke that my old audience would have like totally understood. She's being sarcastic.
Right.
Now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, people that don't know me as well are following me. I can't say something that would maybe be
Right.
offensive. Not that I'm like super offensive, but just
Right.
kind of like, okay, for a while it was like my cousins and my aunts.
Right.
Like that
You're
was
like,
like
they
my
get
following,
it.
and then the people that they were telling. So it almost felt like everybody that followed me for a while,
Kind
somebody
of
in my
knew you.
family had recruited
Right.
them. But then eventually it was like, oh no, these are just people that don't know me. And so
Mhm.
I need to be more aware of how I'm acting.
Right. I get
So,
that. There's times I'm like, I'm actually kind of funny, but I feel like people don't really know it until they know me because it's like undercover funny, but I don't really
uh-huh.
do that on the internet because it's mostly sarcasm and like people wouldn't think a lot of it's funny. I don't
Yes.
know. But then you get to know me and I'm like cracking jokes and
Yes.
yeah, but I get that. There's like definitely like a sensory kind of you gotta work through.
You got to be aware. You got to be
Yeah.
aware for sure. You learn when you do it wrong and then you're like, "Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, and they
Did
tell
not
you.
know
They let you know you did
that
it
was going to
wrong.
be offensive.
Yeah.
I am sorry."
Yeah.
So, yes, yes.
Okay, so you have a book coming out, and just pulling back the curtain a little bit more on what we see on socials, it includes 10 chapters of I just wish statements and how they are keeping us from contentment. I love to chat about some of those because there were definitely some topics that I can relate to. So in motherhood, I just wish I was a better mom. I feel like it's such an easy thing for us to compare other moms like to ourselves and like let comparison creep into motherhood. Is this something that you've ever experienced?
I've never
Yeah, you're
compared.
like the perfect mom, right? That's what I thought, but
Oh my gosh, all the time. And it's funny how it comes up in different seasons, like
yeah,
new mom, you're so much like, okay, well, my baby's not sleeping through the night. Am I like physically feeding my baby enough? And
right.
now I'm more like, am I emotionally and spiritually feeding my children
Yeah,
like I should? Like I unfortunately I feel like it kind of never ends in terms of what
totally.
that comparison can look like. And then I think that the internet in a huge pro, if you had a child that was like miserably struggling with eczema and you've already tried gluten-free and dairy-free, you could go online and find other moms that were like, I'm in the same boat. We tried the same things. Here's what's worked for us, where maybe in your like circle of life, you didn't have
Yeah,
that. So it like widened your ability to see other moms.
totally.
And then on the negative, it widened your ability to see other moms. And
Right.
so you're also like, oh my gosh, this mom is doing this incredible job making like homemade food. And this mom has like an absolutely rockin' bod. And I'm just like still trying to brush my teeth in the morning. And
Right.
so I think it gave us like a ton of connection. And then also with connection, I think you just have the ability to compare.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and I mean, in seasons too, like right now, my kids are, like, in daycare. Well, they're in school in the school year, but now they're kinda, like, back in, like, a daycare situation. It's, like, not even camp, it's just, like, back to, like, the preschool they went to,
yeah,
and they're like I kinda feel bad because all their friends are doing these, like, camps or their moms are, like, stay at home, and they're doing all these fun things, and I feel this, like, sense of am I a bad mom because, like, I have to work and I've gotta, like, send them to, like, an all-day place
yeah,
or whatever, and so it's so easy to just, like, sit in that and be like, "Ugh," but
yeah,
I think you always have to think of, like, if you look at something that way, it's also helpful to, like, give a pro about, like, maybe what you're doing that somebody else isn't doing.
yeah.
Um,
It's so interesting too, because I feel like this was very hard for me. For the longest time, Naptime Kitchen, I really could say it was like a hobby.
yeah,
And then as it slowly crept into being more of a career, it's almost like that happened. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a working mom. Okay, how do I feel about that? What do I
yeah,
think about that? And my mom hadn't worked, and that, it's like a huge privilege that she didn't.
right,
And so it was really healthy for me to talk to friends whose moms did work
right,
and to just realize they were like, yeah, she was my mom and she worked.
right.
Like it wasn't like,
Didn't
oh,
even, like,
woe is
cross their
me.
mind,
No,
right?
and a lot of them work because their moms were like they're like
Right.
that's like the way my life was. And so for me it was like, okay, I didn't have that modeled to me. So I need to talk to some people who had like super normal, healthy working
Totally.
parents, because, I was like, well, what does this mean? Like,
Right.
what do I think motherhood is?
Yeah.
And how does this like fit into the paradigm of what I think it should be?
It's funny. I was interviewing somebody else before this podcast, and she was telling me that like she left her 9 to 5 corporate job and because she wanted to like stay home with her
Hmm.
kids, and for that to like allow her to do that, she started like sharing outfits online, and now she like runs a business and has employees. And I'm like, isn't it funny how you like wanted to leave this job to like be a stay-at-home mom, but like you've now created a business and like now you're back to being a working mom, but it feels different because you like create the parameters around
Hmm.
that. But I feel like sometimes there can be that overlap where it's like, well, I want to stay home, but like I need to do this like side
Yeah.
hustle. And then it grows into like a business. And you're
Yeah.
like, wait, now I'm back to being a working mom.
Yeah. And I feel like in my real life, I have friends that work, that love it, work and wish they didn't, stay at home and wish they didn't, and stay
Yeah.
at home and love it. Like, it just doesn't feel, I think that we desperately want there to be this like perfect situation
Right.
where you always love your job and have this perfect, it's really balanced
Yeah.
probably is what we're like hoping for.
Totally.
Um, but there just isn't this like perfect definition of what that
Yeah.
should look like. But I definitely like you, especially when I first started taking on more with Naptime Kitchen, was just like, wait a minute. Oh gosh, am I going to regret this? So many fears around like regret and those
Yeah.
like, you only get 18 summers, and me being like,
Yeah.
is this like the
What?
worst decision I've ever made?
Yeah.
Just so,
I
yeah.
totally get that. Okay, so you share 3 powerful questions that you ask yourself to reset. Can you walk us through those?
Yeah, so this is in the chapter I wish I was a good mom. I just kind of talk about some questions that I ask myself when I see myself comparing to another mom, and the questions are, is she in a different season of life than I am? Does she have outside help? And do we have the same values? So the
Mhm.
season of life one is just pretty easy because sometimes I think about this so much with exercise. There were seasons where I had a child I was either nursing or just like a toddler that's not sleeping well. So if
Yeah,
I'm looking at a count of someone who's waking up at 5 a.m. to exercise, I'm like, we are not in the same season of life. I cannot physically wake up at 5 a.m. right now to exercise. It's
right.
just not going to happen. And so it's funny because now I do wake up in the morning, and when I share online, I try and like always remind people like, by the way, all my kids are sleeping through the night.
Yeah.
Because if your kids aren't, like, that's just automatically you're on a different playing
Totally.
field. And then the help one, I actually have found to be difficult because I feel this way. It is hard online to share if you have outside help
Yes.
because it can very quickly feel like, hey, look at me.
Right.
Look at all I have. Like, hey, guess what? I have a cleaning lady or I have a nanny or whatever you have. Like, you want people to know because you want
Right.
them to know you're not doing it all. But it also can feel like bragging. I don't know if that's the
Right.
right word, but just kind of like, I have all this. So I think
Right.
that especially for women, it's it's just a very difficult line of like, I want you to know that I'm not doing this by myself, but I also don't want to shove it in your
Right.
face that somebody's helping me.
I agree. I've struggled with that because people will ask like, "How do you do it all?" Like, and I'm like, I have a lot of help behind the scenes that like y'all don't like even know about. And it's
Yeah.
not to like brag, but it's just to be like, I know I can't do it all. So like
Yeah.
here are the things I can do. Here are the things I'm going to have to send out. But
And I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. I thought about it and wrote about it in the book of like, I still don't know what is the best way for women to have a posture of like humility, but be like, I have help. Some people do it really
yeah,
well.
right.
And then the third question was, do we have the same values? And this one is always helpful for me because there's some things that I'll see someone doing and then I'll like check myself and be like, I actually don't care to
Yeah.
do that. Like,
Right.
For me, like homesteading is kind of one where I'm like, I just actually don't have any desire to have chickens or make bread.
Right.
Like it's just none.
I'm not feeling it.
And so I think those things are amazing, but if I like watch something and then I'm like, man, I should be doing that. It's like, actually, I don't have a desire
Yeah.
to do those things. So if you see like an account that's like incredible with homeschooling and you're like, but I actually don't want to do that. Or
Right.
crafty and you're like, I actually don't want to be crafty. Like whatever. It could even be something like exercise or style or something where you're
Right.
like, you know what, I actually don't care that much about
Right.
that level of exercise, but just being able to be like, that's just not a high value for me. And so I don't need to compare myself
Totally.
in that way.
I almost feel like of these 3 questions, if you needed like even a quick reset, number 3 is like, do I have the same values as them? Like that
Yes.
can almost quickly be like, oh, you're right. Hold on. Like, no, moving on.
Yeah.
Because I think that's also like such an important one. I've talked some in the past just about like setting up like family values and like really like figuring out what those might be. And then you can really be secure in what your family is doing and like what you guys value. So
Yeah.
some of that like other things you might consume doesn't have to muddy those waters for you.
Yes. I completely agree.
Okay, you talk in the book about instead of focusing only on who I am in motherhood, I want to focus on who I am as a person. Can you dive further into this and how you apply this into your life?
Yeah. So I think in a large way for me, this takes a lot of the pressure off of like, how am I going to show up in this moment of motherhood? And more is just like, who do I want? It kind of goes back to that value question of like, who do I want to be? Like,
Yeah,
instead of being like, how can I be a patient mother? I'm just like, how can I be a patient person?
yeah,
If I feel rushed in motherhood, I'm probably feeling rushed in life. So it's more just dialing back who is Kate
yeah,
and like who is Kate before God? Who does God say that Kate is? Because that's outside of motherhood,
right.
that motherhood is a piece of that. But I guess I don't want to have my, Lord willing, have my children leave the home and then me be like, who am I?
Right.
It's more like, who am I? And then how am I letting myself as mother be a part of that, but not feeling like my motherhood is separate
Yeah,
from just these characteristics that I just want to be as a person,
right.
not so directly tied to like, I have to prove that in some way in motherhood,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
It kind of reminds me of like, like you and your husband like need to be a joined force and like it's like you put each other first and then you put your kids first because kind of like you said like you don't want your kids to leave the nest and then you'd be like wait who am I, but same goes with like your relationship and like I think pouring into yourself and doing things that like are important to you is then going to like in turn help you be a better mom or better person or a better like whatever. But I
Yeah.
think it's so easy sometimes as like a mom to forget about that or to just you're so in the trenches that it's like, oh yeah, like this isn't what I'm wanting to be or who I'm wanting to
Yeah.
be in all these things.
Yeah. I know. I think motherhood is like so incredible, but it's like you cannot let it be this thing that so consumes you
Yeah.
that you're like, this is all I am. And your kids don't need that from you either.
Right.
I think that if it's this all consuming, this is all I am, then you're putting a lot of pressure on your kids
Yeah.
too, as like, you are my life.
Yeah.
And not to demean it at all. I really hope that it's not coming across that way because it is so important to me, but I don't want it to be the only thing about me.
Yeah.
Maybe is
I get that. I think that's relatable too.
so I don't want that to be I want my core identity to be who God says I am,
Yeah.
and who Kate is, and then motherhood comes from that. But motherhood is not my only identity.
Yeah. No, I love that. Okay, so as your children have gotten older,
Mm.
what has surprised you the most about how motherhood has evolved?
I think I don't know if surprised, but I think I'm like nobody nobody knows what we're doing. I'm like talking to friends and everyone's like, I don't know. like somebody's child is having a hard time attitude talking back, and the rest of us are like, yeah, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. But mine is doing this, like, just this feeling of, I think early on, I really believed, especially because, like, babies can be so easy to manipulate to a degree where you're like, okay, if I like put you down for your nap. But then I write about this in the book, my fourth child, like, just completely killed me, knocked me to the ground, and was like, everything you thought you knew, I'm gonna just destroy you. She was so hard.
You're like, huh?
But it
What?
was, I do think early on, you're like, I'm gonna do mom's on call, I'm gonna follow the schedule, eat, wake, sleep, everything's gonna go. And now it's just so much more like, actually, I'm not sure how I should respond right now. Should I be gracious? Should I be upset? Like, am I ruining them? I think the realization is just like, we don't know.
I don't know.
I told my son yesterday, I said, hey, I had done something. I had been like really harsh with him about, he was helping me make macaroni. He's poured the macaroni into the water while it was still boiling, like the cheese pouch prior to draining the pasta.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lesson you got to learn at some point, I guess. But I was just short with him about it. And then I was like, hey, I am so sorry I was short with you. Like, this is my first time, like, being a mom. And he kind of looked at me and he was like, isn't that true for everybody? But I was like, yeah, it is, but it's true. Like, it's my first time. I only get to do it once, but it's still my first time. And just kind of like giving myself that grace of like, I'm so sorry. So apologizing often is where we're at.
It's definitely interesting. My kids will say stuff and I'm like, oh, I guess I have to teach you that.
Yes.
Like, I need to tell you how to do that. Like, you didn't just come here knowing it. Okay, in your chapter, I just wish I had more time. I feel like every working mom can relate to the worry, will my kids remember me always busy? Is this something that you wrestle with?
Yes. I am like a productivity vacuum. I would say, like, my husband is constantly like, I'll be stressed and he's like, why are you doing, like, he's like, no one is putting this on you but you. Like, it is on me.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll just throw another project in there, not even a work project. Like, it's just like, I'll decide this is the moment to clean out the cabinets. And he's like, why? Like, so I think it is it's probably probably need therapy, like some sort of defense mechanism that I like don't want to sit still and think. I'd rather just like be busy.
Keep it going.
So they see me busy a lot.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to take a family trip next week. And my hope is to really just kind of try and distance myself, not only from my phone, but just from, if I'm outside of the house, I will be outside of the environment where, like, I can always find something to do at my house, but I'm not going to organize an Airbnbs.
Right.
Will watch me. Hopefully I won't. Hopefully I won't. But, kind of pull me out of, and allow me to slow down with them. So.
Yeah, I know. I also think like they just know what they know. What's your Enneagram? Have you ever figured out what number you are?
I am a 3.
Yeah.
I
Well,
desperately want to be a 7, and I have a lot of 7 tendencies, but I think a 3 in health acts like a 7.
Yeah.
So I've got that going for me.
That's true.
But
the 3, when you were talking about just like procrastinating and like constantly putting projects on your plate, I mean, my husband will always be like, why is it that we have to have like 6 projects running at the same time that like aren't related to anything? Like one might be a house renovation, and I'm like, that just feels like how I need to operate, like in this level of insanity that like doesn't make sense to anybody else.
Yes.
That's where I need to live. He's like, we don't need to do that.
I know. But it is. I think when I start to slow down, it takes me like a long time to feel comfortable and not be like, okay, what could I be doing? What could I be doing? Like, I'm like.
A friend of mine over the weekend, she was like, a lot of times like we ask we like are talking to God and we're like asking him like, I want this, or I'm praying for this, or, you're asking him for things or talking to him about things. But like, when's the last time you just like went outside and sat on a chair and just like listened? Like, what if
Uh,
he's just like trying to tell you something in like the peace and quiet? Like, what if you just like listened more without like having a book in your hand or your phone? Like, what if you just gave him that opportunity to like speak to you because you were listening?
mm,
And I've been thinking about that so much over the last few days because I'm like, yeah, I mean, like I've asked for some like things, and
mhm.
I would love to just listen, but I haven't been.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to be something that's hopefully going to help me just not kind of pull back up some of those tendencies I would normally go for.
Ooh, I like that. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
try that
Yeah.
on my trip.
Exactly. There
It's
you go.
yeah.
Okay, so you shifted from productivity to presence, focusing more on how time feels than what's getting done. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I had this I write in the book, I had this, like a few summers back, I really pulled back on working for a month, mainly because I was, like, in a spiral of burnout and
Mhm.
and, uh, over that, like, few-week period, I just did some things that felt, like, very purposeful, and one of them was so silly, but I had gotten a new cookbook. It was Gobby Dalkin's cookbook, and it had this Nutella pie in it, and I was like, "I'm gonna make that pie." And it was labor intensive, like, you make the pie crust, so you have to pulverize the Oreos to make the Oreo pie crust, and then you need to bake it, but it needs to sit before you put the like, it was, like, many steps.
Yeah.
But when the pie was done, I remember eating it and being like, it's almost like I could taste the, like, fruit of my labor. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "I this is so enjoyable because of the time it took,"
Yeah.
versus, like, going to the store and buying, like, a frozen Oreo pie and taking a bite of it. Like, I could almost, like, taste how enjoyable it was because of the process,
Yeah.
and it just got me thinking about, like, how many other things could I enjoy so much more if I was slowing down
Mhm.
in them, and, so I don't know, like, I read. I don't read nearly as many books as the average person probably, but even just the thought of, like, what if I just read because I enjoy reading,
Yeah.
not because I wanna get through, like, 15 books this summer,
Right.
but it's like, if I get through 3 or if I get through 15, it's more just like, when I have a moment, I'm gonna read.
Yeah.
Not to get through the books, but just to
To
be
like
wrapped
hear
in a
the
story.
story.
And just kind of these, like, what if it wasn't so much about putting it on the list or
Right.
getting it done or, just
You could just
making
enjoy it.
things. Yeah. And when I am very healthy, I notice that I do that in the kitchen. Like, I will
Mm.
just pick something and be like, "Oh, that recipe looks good. I'm gonna make it." And when I'm unhealthy, I'm like, "Oh, who has the time? How
Yeah.
could I ever?" Like, must be nice.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
that's where Nate is like, "Hey, you actually can.
Ugh.
Also, you could make this for your job if you wanted to because it is your job, you silly girl." But just, like,
You're like, "Oh, okay, so maybe it's, like, not even about the recipe, like, hold on.
yeah.
Let me go do, like, a walk around outside real quick."
I need to go sit on that chair in the quiet that you were talking about. So,
Literally.
yeah.
That's funny. How do you guide your kids to understand time management and busyness?
It's funny. I was talking with Emily Lay recently, and kind of this big thing that I realized is that, and I think this kind of goes back to like being a good mom and like, am I a good mom? But I'm also a working mom, is like, it's probably, I had this like epiphany when we were talking, and I was like, it's actually probably not healthy for my kids to see me be a working mom, but also always available to them, which is what I want to be.
Mm,
Because I'm like, that is an awful standard for my daughters to live under, to then
yeah.
become a mom and think, I am going to be a mom who works and also is at all the practices, all the recitals, the field trip mom, the room mom. Like, I'm like, what an awful standard to put. So it was weird when I thought about my daughters living under that standard. I was like, oh, I do not want that for them.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, then why am I thinking I should have that standard for myself. Like,
Yeah.
so I think kind of going back to your question, like I want to, I'm trying to work on giving my kids like explanations. Like if they have a field trip, I'm going to be like, hey, I actually can't come. I'm really sorry I can't come, but I need to work that day. Or on the other side, like being like, hey, I'm so excited. I'm actually not going to work today and I'm going to come on your field trip. But like helping them see like there's a trade-off happening
Right.
that like I can't do it all.
Right.
And so I need you to see that I can't do it all.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to think you have to do it all.
It's so
Um,
true.
so I don't know. That's something I'm working it out in real time right now, but just like wanting them to know I can't do it all. And I hope to God that you don't believe you need to do it all when
Right.
you're the parent.
Well, it's like I feel like we hold ourselves to these like standards that like aren't realistic.
Yeah.
And then like I mean, that's a great way to bring it back to reality of like, wait, I don't want my daughters to feel like this is how they have to live. Like I need to set the example for them now or like teach them those things.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to go about doing that. Okay, so let's move into friendships. What have friendships looked like for you since stepping into motherhood?
I think especially so my kids, my youngest is 3 and my oldest is 10.
Okay.
So especially my 8-year-old and my 10-year-old, it's been so fun to form friendships with their friends' parents.
Yeah.
Like that's just such a new phase where it's not like you meet someone at the playground and then you're like trying to make your kids friends, but more your kids
Right.
are friends. And then you're like, we actually get along with these parents.
Totally.
So between that and then proximity right now, so our neighborhood is so important to us.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever be able to move because unfortunately we love our neighbors.
I
And
agree.
so that and that has felt like there's multiple friends that I still love dearly, but we just don't hang out. And it is 100% just geography. It's
Totally.
like, I love you, you love me, but your kids, we're like 40 minutes apart. And
Yeah.
our kids are both in school. So it's like, and I don't think there's any hard feelings there. I think it's just
Right.
like
The
you're going to hang out
reality.
with the people that you can get to within a mile. And I'm kind of doing the same,
Yeah.
So that has been fun, though, to meet friends that I don't think I would have known aside from my kids.
Yeah. I
So,
agree. We're sort of in like starting in that. Collins was in kindergarten last year. She'll be in first grade and Hazel will be in kindergarten this year. And both of them, they have like a few little buddies that they've like, or we'll talk about a lot more. And then they'll be like, can we please do a play date? And then I find myself being like really connecting with the mom. And
yeah.
I'm like, this is so cool that like our children are the ones that brought us together and then we can continue that friendship. It's just kind of, I don't know. I guess I always thought it would be like, oh, well, I'll be friends with my friends and like our kids will just like force
Yeah.
be friends, you know?
Yeah.
And there is some of that, but I think there's also opportunity for more friends and just like coming at a different way of, and by way of
Yeah.
different life.
Yes.
How do you handle feeling left out?
I kind of write this in the book. I try really hard not to take it personally, like kind of going back to what we were just saying. I think a lot of being left out right now is probably due to just location and
Yeah.
ease. Like I'm going to hang out with the people in my neighborhood and somebody might have like a 40th birthday party and I'm just not invited. And I just try and think like, you know what? I don't know if I'm one of their top 20 friends.
Yeah.
Like,
And like, that's
that,
okay.
That's okay. If I had my 40th, would I have invited them? Like just kind of trying to walk it a little bit and be like,
Right.
and it's funny because I think it's mostly an ego thing. Like, I do not want to be invited to all the parties because I don't want to go.
Right.
Like, I just want to be home.
Like, I like being home.
But my ego does. Like, it's like my ego is like, I want everybody to like me. I want everybody to think we have to have Kate here. The party will not be fun if Kate is not here, which is so funny and so horrible to say out loud. But I want that like level of love. But I think when I'm like, you know what? It's healthy for me not to always be invited. Like
Totally.
And so that doesn't speak probably to anybody who's in like a deep phase of like really feeling left out. And I know that can be like so painful. So I guess to anyone listening who's like, I just don't feel like I have friends, or it feels really painful. One, I mean, spiritually, I think that God really can meet you when you are feeling that like level of loneliness.
Yeah.
And like asking for like friends, and maybe you like find them at the playground. Like, and I think too, something I write about, I know I keep saying I write about it, but like, this took a long time. So there's a lot
we're
in
talking
it.
about it.
But like, I think sometimes we believe that we need more friends, but what we actually just want is just to feel like somebody knows us.
Right.
And so I think when you're feeling lonely, it can be healthy to be like, who's one person that I could call that knows me and I can talk to that person? Or God, give me like one friend in this town. I don't need 10.
Yeah.
I just give me one friend that I could meet at the playground or whatever. I remember, I think my closest friends in that season, I met at the park.
Yeah.
Like, and we're still friends, but we met at the playground.
Yeah.
And one girl, I bought her chairs off Facebook Marketplace. And it was like in the process of buying her chairs, I was like, I think we could be friends. Kind of creepy. But then we saw each other at the park and I was like, oh, I bought your chairs.
This is a sign.
This
is a sign.
And she's like, you did. And then we like, exchanged numbers and
it like wasn't weird anymore.
Yeah. Yes.
That's funny. Okay, I have some rapid fire questions for you. Okay, biggest mom hack for pool days.
I've shared this one on Instagram a couple times, but we just put the tube popsicles into a Yeti and you close it and it'll keep them cold.
Okay. That's actually so smart.
Yeah. And especially if you put the Yeti in the freezer for a few minutes, but you don't even have to. If you just put like a bunch of the popsicles into one of those and close it, it'll keep them frozen for a good long time.
That's a great idea.
So then you're bringing popsicles to the pool.
I love that. Okay, go-to summer meal that the whole family actually eats.
Well, that whole family actually eats part is always the kicker. We have 4 kids and it is like killing me. So funny enough, I said like pick your sandwich night because I'm like, everybody can pick a sandwich. Everyone can make a sandwich. You can even pick your bread if you want to. And I'm like, you know what? We're not eating sandwiches for lunch because it's not the school year. So sandwiches for dinner is a nice thing we're doing. I would say that. And then the other food that everyone is eating right now is chicken sausage.
Yeah.
So, eventually I'm going to burn it out and no one's going to be able to look at it for 6 months. But
honestly, that's kind of where I am.
Yeah.
I loved chicken sausage, like gave it a really good run. And then it got to a point where I'm like, no, that's just going to be a no for me.
I'm going to do it. I'm sure. I'm going to scar them. But right now I'm like,
but it is really good and it's so easy to make.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then every time I end up just putting like turkey and some fruit and like crackers on a plate, I'm like, why am I making it harder than this?
Literally. Like a kid's charcuterie with just like a bunch of random things.
I know.
I'm like, this is like, that's what I want to eat for dinner.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great idea for all of us involved.
Yes.
I know. I think in the summer, sometimes I'm just like, I don't care. Like, you want ice cream tonight? Sure. Like, have a cheese stick and an apple first, okay? Like, whatever. Go swimming. I don't care.
I know. And I'm like, I do that. I'll be like, you know what? I'm having a bowl of ice cream.
Yeah.
Like, so.
I know. And I feel like, though, those are the memories that, like, the kids are going to be like, remember that one time, like, you let us eat ice cream for dinner?
Yes.
And they're like, I'm pretty cool. So,
I am.
Yeah.
Super cool. Super cool.
Okay. What is one thing that you're loving right now? Just like anything, a book, a product, like whatever.
I said we are currently like pulling out all of our games and playing games with the kids.
Okay.
And it's fun because like I love the game Monopoly Deal, like love it. But we had given John Robert Monopoly Go for his birthday and we played it yesterday and we were all like, this is not that great. And so it was like, okay, we don't need to keep Monopoly Go. And so, but it's gotten me on this like, okay, why don't we try and play like all the games in the cabinet?
Yeah.
And just decide which
Like,
ones we
see which
actually
we like.
or like which ones are missing 15 pieces and why do we even have it?
Right.
But the kids are great, especially the big three are great ages for playing games.
Yeah.
And it is what I like to refer to as Charleston winter right now, which is like, it is depressingly hot outside.
Yeah.
And come January, we'll be outside,
Right.
January, February, we're going to love it. But July and August are so oppressive that
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to be like, we're going to sit inside and play a board game.
Right.
Like, this is our winter, is
Right.
like, and when I embrace that, I'm like, we're just inside.
Yeah.
So this
Feels
is
a
our
lot more
winter
acceptable.
activity. Yeah, is board games.
I think one of the hottest I've ever been in my entire life was a summer in Charleston. It was this day I was like shooting outfits and I was sweating from like pores I didn't even know sweat could
Yes.
come out of. Like it was so hot. And I'm like, how do people do this?
It is so hot. It really is. And I kind of think it's like when fall comes for people that live where it gets cold, they're like, they want to enjoy the fall, but they're also like, oh no, winter is coming.
Right.
And in spring, I'm kind of like, I want to enjoy the spring, but I'm like, summer is coming.
Yeah,
like
fall.
Winter is like, we are loving the fall. We don't even get it.
Right.
It's like we're praying for cold weather in December. But the heat is so hard.
Yeah.
It is killer.
Yeah. That was an interesting experience.
Yeah, I believe it.
Mhm. Okay, well, we're going to wrap this up. I end all of my podcasts with the question, what is the most meaningful act of kindness that somebody has extended to you that has had a lasting impact on your life?
Well, a very practical is early on in my Instagram, accounts that were like much larger than mine would like randomly tell people to follow me, which as like a small account was like
Yeah.
a really, it definitely had an impact on my life just because it like really helped make Naptime Kitchen what it is.
Yeah.
And then the other one is, it's smaller. It's a smaller kindness thing, but I think it's like rewiring something in my brain. There's a friend of mine in the neighborhood, and we just like pass food back and forth, like just single servings. Like so the other day I meal prepped like a spinach and mushroom breakfast casserole and some like Thai peanut noodles. And I just gave her one serving of each of those. Like it's not to serve her, it's not for her family. It's just for like one day for lunch. She's going to have a really good lunch.
Yeah.
And likewise, like if she makes something, she just gives me one serving of it. And it has been so fun and kind of enjoyable because I get like one serving of something really good that I didn't have to cook at all. And it's just been, I think it's been thinking the lasting impact part is like, it's been rewiring me to like, sometimes all I need to do is a little bit. Like you don't I don't have to do this like grandiose thing constantly. Like this one small, like single serving Tupperware, it is really filling my cup.
Totally.
And I think if I had to make a meal for her whole family, it would never happen. It's just like, no, I'm just giving her like one slice of the breakfast casserole.
Yeah.
And she's giving me, she got me like one little like chocolate peanut butter torte the other day. It was so enjoyable. And there's just something about like, okay, sometimes like smaller is better or smaller is more doable.
Yeah.
And more doable is better.
Right.
That I've just been like thinking, like I'm like asking myself, how does that translate into like other areas of my life?
But then that's like such a special thing that you guys have, and it's like you're probably, sometimes like when I drink a cup of coffee, I'm like, this just feels like a hug. Like, I just like, this is just what I needed. And it's like when you eat the treat or eat the like lunch that she gave you, it's kind of like her way of giving you a hug and just being like, I see you. Like, you don't have to cook your own lunch today. Like you're having this.
Yes.
So I just feel like there's like just something like happy within that.
It really has. It's been like a fun little trade.
I love that. Okay. Well, Kate, tell our listeners where they can find you on Instagram.
Yes, I am Naptime Kitchen. All one word.
Easy Naptime Kitchen. And is your book out like right now or is it coming out? What is the like release date?
It comes out on August 26th.
Okay, perfect.
Tuesday, August 26th.
Okay, great. I'm so excited. It's going to be, is it up for pre-order right now?
Yes, it is up for pre-order. Yes, please pre-order it. Pre-order like 25 copies if you're willing. Just kidding. But yes, it is up for pre-order. There's an audiobook version. I record the audiobook.
You did?
I did.
Oh my gosh. What was that like?
Oh my gosh. It was a beast. I think what I didn't realize is, so I could talk all day long. My parents would tell you it's hard to get me to shut up. But when you're recording an audiobook, it needs to be word perfect. And so when you're doing it, like there's a person on the other side of the wall. And like when you mess up, they stop you. And they're like, oh, the sentence said you had a lot of friends and you said many friends. And your brain, like, especially if you wrote it, it's like my brain kept wanting to like switch tiny little things.
Yeah.
But they like stop you and make you go back and make you go back and make you go back. So like in the first chapter, I almost had like a panic attack because I was like, oh my gosh, I have 10 chapters. And then eventually you kind of get into a groove. But it was like a beat. And you're in this like tiny little sound recording booth, you know, because it's got to be like good sound. It was hard. I don't think people are not talking enough about how hard like audiobook recording is. Okay,
so next week I'm interviewing Julia Whalen, who is like an Audible like narrator. She's read like so many books, some of my favorite books, and so I was like super excited. But I've interviewed a few people this season so far who are like authors like you and another who is a doctor, and she also read her audiobook and she said the same thing, like it is so hard. So now I'm like, I got to interview somebody who does this for a career because like this is crazy.
I would be dying. I will be dying to hear what she has to say. And maybe you just get like really good at it. And maybe if it's not your writing, that makes it different.
Yeah.
But I just felt like just this, and you know, it's like, what am I going to do now? Change the words? Like it's too late now. But you get into this groove and you're just talking, and then you just kind of throw in a word, and they're like, no, that word's not in the book. You're like, yeah.
Well, I'm excited for all of your hard work of writing and recording to be out in the world in, you know, about like 6 or 8 weeks, right?
Yeah.
It's coming up. Crazy. So exciting. Well, Kate, this has been so much fun. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I had a great time.
Yeah, this has been awesome. And I'm going to leave lots of information in the show notes for our listeners. So make sure to check there to get some direct links so you can follow along with Kate. And we will talk to you next time.